Knowledge is a form of ignorance, a form of thinking yourself wise in your own eyes. With this comes a form of battle or a war for your own spirit using that same thing called knowledge. We tend to accept ourselves better when we see ourselves in a light that makes us feel good. This is because feelings are the quickest ways for us to measure the vibrations we're on. So we tend to accept who we are when information is provided to us that makes us feel like we know something. It makes us feel good. This is the same reason why the average daily man will prey on another average daily man and woman, working as, say, an employee somewhere to screw someone over, and they feel just fine over it. In fact, they not only feel fine about it, they feel good about it. It feeds them. It gives them purpose. This is also what is done when people use buzzwords in religion or cults. Words like sin, words like God, words like damnation, hell, heaven. But those are religious cults. Then there are other types of cults that use buzzwords also, like status correction, freedom, etc., etc. The same concept is used with those who claim to be public safety. The same concept. Yet the entire human population sees evidence otherwise, daily on documents, daily on video records, on audio records, and some even have first-hand experience that contradict this quote, public safety. Documents such as Supreme Court cases that say, hey, look, these same guys that purport public safety have no duty of safety or keeping you safe, and they have no duty of telling you any truth. Do you see the consistent pattern? And the danger to this all is that it is done so well that it looks innocent. So innocent that you may even be emotionally attached to the same buzzword and pretentious cloud that screws you over. The danger of mind control is that you are often unaware it is occurring and think yourself a free agent. And if you don't accept what the one screwing you over tells you, then surely something must be wrong with you, right? The issue, though, are not buzzwords of status, citizen, secure party, nationality, or things like safety, or other words like God or heaven. Those words are real, don't get me wrong. But the ones using it has twisted the meaning and applicability and the scope of those words that only in light of realizing the trauma and mind control will you notice the slight element of schizophrenia involved in accepting the way those words have been misconstrued. This is a reminder to you not to seek acceptance in what others tell you based on face value of what is merely appealing or what feels good, or what seems like the semblance of knowledge that can enslave you. Whether it is social acceptance involved in bandwagoning or the fact that you see others cheering it on, just stop to think for yourself. Stop and ask yourself, do any of these people actually know what in the world they are actually doing? Do they really know what they're doing? This is the story of confusion mixed with anxiety when buzzwords are used. Anxiety is all right. It is an alarm that tells you something is amiss. But when anxiety is mixed with confusion, it makes the human mind open to manipulation. The world is full of things that are easy to become self-destructive. Very much like a child whose brain is developing and seeks acceptance from parents or maybe even friends. But the parents fail to feed the child the necessary emotional, physical, and spiritual elements of growth. The child will inevitably seek it out in the world that is equally as destructive or worse. I see the exact thing going on every day with information, with things like status, secure party, and whatnot. I was never even introduced to the whole social media thing and people pushing these things until I started speaking with one man, one woman, a day at a time. And I'm seeing their stories are very consistent, very consistent, repetitive pattern. Different voices, different faces, different locations, but the exact template of the situation. Recall that in every intelligent being, there lies a will to find the substance in a thing, and the exact obverse of that simultaneously exists, which is the unwillingness to see the substance. It is a very interesting dichotomy that exists in the human nervous system. They both sit perfectly on both sides of that scale. The latter involves the requirement to affirm or obtain something void to complete oneself. The first involves selflessness, the willingness to abandon oneself to find that which is beyond themselves. This delicate balance is the reason why the concept of status correction, state national, free man, sovereign, all these buzzwords works on people who are misguided by them. The buzzwords, status correction, taps into something very intimate in the nature of we as intelligent beings. But it stops at just one limited identity rather than a broader scope of the collective consciousness, if you might want to call it that. Because we as intelligent sentient creatures function based on collectivity. Whatever we call that thing, one thing is true, and it is that man does not function alone. Even when he is alone, enters the social element of other people seeing what other people are saying and other people cheering it on. If this is your starting point, there must then be a moment, or at least a crossroad, in accepting some of the buzzwords involved in status correction and secure party credit and state national, where you would notice just how self-limiting the entire thing is. It is limited to just you and you alone, merely using those same buzzwords without any direct reflection of the results in your life. Especially in the 21st century, most people are so fond of look at me situation. And that stuff sells to other people who desire to be looked at. Whereas there is really nothing you can do in this world with all those buzzwords and look at me concepts, no matter how perfect you are at it. What this means in this context, belief or not, when people are putting thumbprints on their documents and sending things out with empty demands or assertions, it has always been mentioned here that two people can exist in the same room, breathe the same air, but live in completely different reality. The same apply with buzzwords people use. Buzzwords of equity, status, which are terms that rightfully exist, but the paradigm they use it in is so far removed from the actual function that even when people eventually find the actual function, they cannot help but try to reconform it to what they've prior learned. They just want to rush everything, give it to me quick. Meanwhile, while trying to reconform things that feels comfortable to that prior soggy foundation, those who you purport to be running away from are getting stronger every day. Primarily because the tortfeasors are the ones that have set up those exact buzzwords and definition and scope of those use of those buzzwords so as to steer people away from really knowing how what they are involved in works. What they are involved in is what is referred to as, quote, the system. The system, the system, the system. The same system they intend to avoid instead of taking it and using it because the system was already theirs ab initio. From the start, it has always been theirs. They were the ones who created the system and appointed people in position to be in those systems. The system is perfected. Don't abandon what is yours. Those who use buzzwords to the detriment of people comprehend human nature. They create and hand you the problem and purport to also have the solution to the same problem that they have handed you. We live in a world of zombies and preys. Buzzwords have been used to rule the mind of men since time immemorial. It is and has been used to move people, to control people, to direct people, to misdirect people, especially when people have mustered up the will to move towards the right direction. Suddenly, someone comes and catches your attention and tell you, hey, look, here, turn the other way. Using what? Using buzzwords. And suddenly, ever so suddenly, the mass walks the opposite direction of where and what they once actually knew as a subtle substance of things that they saw and sought. Do better. Over the years, in speaking with close to 1,200 people in their respective circumstance, I've looked back at the data, and it turns out about 70%, a little over 70%, about 71.5% to be exact, of the people that deal with information when it comes to securing what is theirs and properly enforcing it, whether they realize that's what they're trying to do or not. Of those people, 70% of them are looking for something very particular. The other 30% are just exploring it just because it's fun. But of those 70% of about 1,200 people looking for something very specific, only about 13% of them are actually successful before they came in contact with me. And I've noticed that the reason is because the majority of them have spent a lot of time of their lives being taken advantage of, and thereafter followed some guru based on speculations, which is a semblance of the thing they attempted to avoid in the first place. With that said, I'm emphasizing here that this is not guruship, and this is definitely not a shortcut feel-good environment like most people have been fed when it comes to what they perceive as some unique special information that no one else knows about. When in truth, what they think is unique that no one else knows about is just a misconstrued version of what actually really exists. That sure, not many know about it, but even they themselves have it all twisted. So what's done at subtle substance is not based on instant gratification, and there is a primary element of self-responsibility. So if this sounds like something you are one with, then the Subtle Club on the Patreon page is the way. There's a yearly discount that's currently going on Patreon if you join the Subtle Club for a year. So take advantage of it.